Pranav sir, how are you? It's really good to catch up with you after such a long while.
Yeah, hi Akshay. Same here. It's always a pleasure to meet you. Looking forward
Likewise.
for the.
Welcome to the discussion, sir. Today, more or less, we are going to discuss about entrepreneurship. Since you have been an entrepreneur for almost 2 or 3 decades of your life, and I think we should definitely be asking you some relevant questions that the other entrepreneurs are looking forward to get inspired from. So I'll start with my questions to you, sir.
Sure, Akshay. Shoot.
Right. So my basic and first question is, so what are the skills required to become an entrepreneur?
So, Akshay, this is a great question, and obviously there are multiple skills which are required to become a successful entrepreneur. Just to put it that way, and broadly, I would say that there are two kinds of skill sets which are required. You yourself are a great entrepreneur. One could be classified as a soft skill. The soft kind of skills. They also called EQ skills, and some are hard skills. Some are hard skills which are required. So I'll probably break up my discussion into soft and hard, and probably start with the soft one. In my mind, the number one which tops the soft one is grit. So, grit is, as an entrepreneur, when you start off with an idea, with a project in mind, etc., you're always, dealing with complex situations. You're sometimes dealing with a lot of situations in which things are not going your way. You get negative feedback, and at times one feels let down, one feels slowing down things, losing. So, the ability to come back, to ability to rise to that occasion, to counter those negative thoughts, and still be able to focus on your work and scale up. That's called grit, and that's actually the defining point of an entrepreneur. If you look at some of the top entrepreneurs and look at their journeys, they've always gone through ups and downs. But the ones who really kind of scaled up and gone ahead are ones which had grit, which had the determination to fight, which said like, look, if this is a problem, I'm going to solve it. So that's a very important skill set, not to get afraid of situations when things are not going your way. So in my mind, this really defines. And obviously, when you have grit, you have tremendous amount of ability to work hard, because you'll be overcoming those situations. You'll climb back. You don't have too much fear of failure, but your thought process obviously to overcome failure, and that's how then you create the right actions. You create all the right noises in terms of building up and scaling up businesses.
Hmm.
uh, the second skill set in my mind, which is very 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 critical, is how do you deal with people, your ability to deal with people. Because when you're starting up as a budding entrepreneur, you have to deal with creating your own team. So you have to deal with your team members, you have to deal with customers, you have to deal with clients, you have to deal with the external environment. So if you're in manufacturing, for example, you'll have to deal with the government.
Hmm.
And the services sector obviously has less interference with the government, but then you are constantly dealing with people. And good communication, good connect with people is obviously a very very important skill set. How do you build teams, how do you build customers, and all requires this very very important skill set.
Correct.
How do you deal third important soft skill in my mind is how do you deal with ambiguity. So whenever you are often scaling up, you're often building businesses, you're not sure that whatever step you take is it the right step to take you to the right direction. You are dealing a lot of times in areas of gray. So your ability to fight ambiguity, to make solutions, find solutions, and solve that portion is a very very important skill set. And for three, again, coming back to great determination, uh, often entrepreneurs who look at failure as a learning part in terms of then building solutions to uh, scale up are very successful. I've never met any single entrepreneur who's not faced failure.
Hmm.
Uh, Top class entrepreneurs have always gone through ups and downs, but then the ones who really been able to scale up is the ones who said, look, I failed, that doesn't mean I'm going to fail again, right? But
Right.
this is my learning from my failure. This is my learning. Let me learn from this failure and still move on. Still move on. And it's again kind of a subset of grit. Never look back, looking forward, but learning from your failure.
Right.
So these
Right.
are the important skill sets: your ability to communicate, your determination, your positiveness, not looking at failure as negative, but looking at failure as a learning process to move forward. These are some of the very important soft skill sets which one needs to have.
Hmm.
Some of the hard skills which I would say are very very important, which are some of the important ingredients, and these soft skills sometimes actually uh, are a function of how you've grown up in families, your environment in school, your environment in college, your people whom you've interacted with. So this all comes as a result of that, and not much is actually taught in curriculum in college. Nobody teaches you about grit, and but these are learning, experiential learning processes when you're growing up. So could be family, could be school, could be college, etc. And then that's how what it defines you. Some of the hard skills, obviously, which I'm going to just talk about, are things that you can now uh, acquire as skill sets through formal training, through curriculum, through education in school, university, college. And one which really comes to my mind on the top of the list is communication. Because when you have a startup, when you start a company, you obviously have to communicate. You want to sell,
Right.
right? You want to acquire new customers. So you have to sell your story. You have to
Right.
tell stakeholders. For example, when we built Ashoka and Plaksha, we had to communicate all the time and sell
Correct.
to faculty, to sell to our students that look, we are going to be the best. Sell it to our external environment, founders, trustees. So similarly, in any business, you always have to communicate and sell. So, and how do you do that? Through effective communication. And effective communication doesn't necessarily mean the command over a language. I could speak very good English or another medium of language, but the way I'm conveying a message could be totally different. So that skill set is very important. How do you make your point very, very quickly? How do you make sure that whatever you are saying making sense, it's striking a chord, and that is called communication. And obviously this can be now built through reading, through writing, storytelling. Lot of workshops are happening around communication. At Ashoka University, we have a center for writing and communication, which kind of works along with students all throughout to hone their skills in communication, and whether it's oral or written. So this is a very, very important skill set which entrepreneurs need, because they have to sell. They have to continuously interact with people. Uh, the other important aspect of an entrepreneur which is required is building your network. So that is important, and whether budding entrepreneurs need networks not only for scaling up their products, technology, mentoring, uh, networks to find more customers, etc. So effective, successful entrepreneurs are ones who are able to build network. They have again good EQ skills, good network skills, and the ones who are successful are able to ramp up their businesses very fast if they are able to build a good network. And obviously, networking sometimes is also taken in a negative way. But I'm just talking about building relationships. I'm talking about connecting dots, and that's an important skill set to have. The third hard skill, which has now become very pertinent and important in any business, is this whole notion of social digital marketing. Because now there's been a huge transformation when we started our entrepreneurial journey 30 years back and now. So all businesses today, whether they're manufacturing, service domain, technology, biotech, you name any industry, the marketing aspect of any business has been totally disrupted now, and
True.
everything is digital now. So the whole art of how you can promote your business digitally through the various apps you have, performance marketing, how do you optimizing marketing, and all the arts and tricks of making sure that you're number one on the search engines, etc. So this is
Right.
now a very very important hard skill set to have. In fact, uh, this I feel should be taught to every entrepreneur today. And if you really need to iron out into the nitty gritties of social digital marketing to be successful in your business. And this is something, in fact, universities should do, to put this as
Definitely.
a very important curriculum for entrepreneurs, because this is an important, very, very important skill set to have, because ultimately businesses survive on revenue, right? If you generate
Correct.
revenue, you're going to be profitable and you need customers. And today, customer acquisitions are happening through digital marketing.
Absolutely right.
And right. And the last hard skill, and this obviously, as I mentioned, could be taught in curriculum, right? There could be a course. Communication is obviously lot of colleges, universities are paying emphasis on communication, presentations, etc., how to convey your point. And lastly, I would say that a very important skill set to have is the to have a sense of money, the sense of finance. That's very important for entrepreneurs to have. Typically, a lot of entrepreneurs get carried away with their ideas. An idea is very dear to an entrepreneur, and when you're scaling up, you do require money on the table, and you get carried away. And sometimes you lose track of money. You lose track of money, what's coming in, what's going out, how much cash do you need in the next 2 years, how much are you burning it, when are you going to be cash positive, etc. So this is very, very important, the sense of uh, finance. And I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs, especially so entrepreneurs come with all kinds of backgrounds. Some are tech entrepreneurs, some are business entrepreneurs coming out and scaling up ideas. But people
Yeah.
who, and entrepreneurs who have a good sense of money and focus on money, how to spend it wisely, and where is it going, how is it coming, a good, have generally a good chance of building their organizations profitably. And and so I feel that some of the hard skills and soft skills which I mentioned can be uh, built. Hard skills, for example, can be built through curriculum, and for example, digital marketing can be taught, communication courses can be taught. Uh, you could do one-on-one. There are a lot of courses on now. Finance, cash flows, how to look, see a balance sheet. So, we come from engineering backgrounds, so we never looked at a balance sheet. But when you have your own business, the first thing is you have to make your own balance sheet. So
Correct.
these hard skills can really be taught through academia, through curriculum, through formal training, and I feel the soft skills generally come through your experiences. But
Mhm.
a great way to for institutions and schools and to think about in terms of building soft skills is having children inculcate in sports. For example, sports is a great way to build grit,
Mhm.
determination, because sports sometimes gives a lot. There's only one person who comes first in the race, right? And and then somebody has to come last, and somebody has to come number two or whatever, and then that teaches you how to deal with failure. And
Mhm. Correct.
experiential projects that you have done, when you probably or any project work that you do which involves working with a team, teaches you teamwork. How do you deal with people, how do you communicate. So a lot of these experiential learning through project work, through sports, can teach you and can inculcate habits of great determination, positivity, communication, and dealing with people. And and I think schools fairly now are doing that. I think a lot of school curriculums have a lot of project work, a lot of experiential learning. There's a lot of emphasis on the
Correct.
sports. So,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that a lot of schools have already started smart classrooms wherein, they are doing the experiential learning uh, with the students. They have smart classes, they have smart boards, and, people can also teach online, they can study online, and, a lot of
Correct.
recommendations can be made, depending upon each student's performance. So yes, that's there,
Yeah,
these
yeah.
kind of
And
skills
it's very
teachers.
important when you go and scale up and get into the real world. Those experiential learnings will define your character and define your personality and define some of these EQ skills and soft skills which I'm talking about.
Right, sir. Right. So also I believe that, when you said that, communication, is the way. for an entrepreneur to convey his idea properly. So if the idea and it's properly clear in an entrepreneur's mind, then does not matter if he's speaking in English या वो हिंदी में बोले. It
Correct,
just
correct, correct.
matters if he's able to convey the idea or not. And definitely effective communication plays a big role. And yes, sir. The
Yeah.
answer was the answer was really something that I was looking forward to, and I believe other people would also get a lot of sense from the answer. So another similar question that I have, we talked about soft skills and hard skills. Hard skills majorly that can be taught or learned through various techniques and methods. But a lot of people say that to become an entrepreneur, you have to develop habits. Some kind of habits in your daily lives. Which reflect of you being an entrepreneur, and that certainly evolves your mind as well as an entrepreneur. So, what kind of habits do you think an entrepreneur should have in his everyday life?
So again, a great question. It's kind of interlinked with the earlier question you had on skills, but I'll try to differentiate. And habit is something which, when we talk about skill sets, the soft skills are something which you grow up with and through your experiences. But habits is something which is in your hand, right? Habit is something which you can control. And some of the few things which I can talk with my experiences in terms of habits, again, on top of my list would be a very to create a sense of a positive attitude in your mind when you wake up. When you wake up in the morning, despite whatever else is going around you, you have to create a thought that, look, it's going to be okay. I'm positive. I'm going to solve this solution. This is a very important habit to have in terms of creating this thought first thing in the morning that, look, things are going right. Things are moving forward. Things are great. Despite whatever is happening around. Despite whatever is happening around, you might facing challenges here and there. But this is important because this will set you for the day. And then your whole day will go into solution finding mode, solving
Mhm.
problems, if you don't create this thought. So that is something which I have done over my journey, facing hurdles, problems throughout a lot of times. But just say that, look, yeah, this is going it, but I'm going to solve it. So I think that's a very important habit to have. Uh, Other thing which I normally recommend, and which I talked about earlier, was to put in a bit of sports in your agenda, in your daily routine. And
Mhm.
this I'm going to talk more about a routine, what an entrepreneur should have in terms of habits. And the sports normally gives a very positive kind of a vibe. You could do any small exercise, running, yoga, but having a bit of sports kind of tucked in. I've seen Akshay, big unicorns, big top entrepreneurs, leaders, and I would say majority of them who build large companies and scaled up, 90% of them have some kind of a exercise routine in their in their daily habit routine, and this brings in again a lot of positivity. So that's a suggestion, but that's based on my experience. Again, a lot of focus. A
Mhm.
lot of times, sometimes entrepreneurs do get carried with their story. So, I have a story, I'm personally sold by it, but then you have to sometimes keep on validating it. Just keep an open mind, keep on validating it, and come back on the business plan. You must have built a business plan. Look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to scale up my business. 2 years from down the road, I'm going to be this. So keep on validating it. Don't get too much carried away by the idea. The idea could be good, but keep on coming back and refocusing back.
Correct.
And that's extremely, extremely important habit to have, to say, keep on telling yourself that, look, am I on the right track? I'm be very focused on the point, to the point, making sure my business plan. And if it's not happening, then you need to tweak your business plan. Then you need to go back again to the drawing board and say that, oh, look, it's not panning this way. I
Mhm.
am attached to my product. If things are not working this way, then what do I need to do to either achieve my business plan or rework the numbers? Third is discipline. So discipline is very important. Uh, Discipline is extremely important in terms of successful entrepreneurs. So I've I've seen entrepreneurs stick to very strict regimes, uh, making sure that their work is their first priority. So discipline and priority, and everything else which is happening around in terms of socializing, in terms of meeting friends, in terms of anything else which is taking away time from you focusing on your business, your idea should be second priority. So to give you a situation, it could be that your friends tell you tomorrow that, oh well, let's take off for 3 days, 4 days. This is important. But if it's interfering in your business growth, if it's interfering in terms of some of the things going behind schedule, then you need to be extremely disciplined. You need to be disciplined in terms of, I've seen great entrepreneurs being on time always.
Hmm.
Uh, and that also, Akshay, would include financial discipline. So again, as I
Hmm.
mentioned earlier, financial discipline is extremely important. A lot of entrepreneurs go bust saying that, look, I love my idea so much, I like to do this, I like to do that, I'm going
Hmm.
to spend money here, and without a sense of where it's coming on. So discipline, again, a very important habit. Uh, the fourth thing is that when you want to scale, a lot of businesses want to scale up as entrepreneurs, try to get good talent. The founder promoter always thinks that he's the best in the business just because they've created the idea. So that doesn't mean, if you want to build your company, try to get talent. I know it costs, but great entrepreneurs build great talent. Try to get people who are smarter than you if you
Hmm.
want to make your business successful. So that's a very important habit. Sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs want to cut costs and say that, look, we are the best, and we are just going to invest in people who are not very expensive in terms of payroll payout. But so that's an important habit to inculcate, to always scout for good talent if you want to have your businesses shape up. And lastly, I would say that build a culture of collaboration in your company with your employees and not make it hierarchical.
Hmm.
Companies which, and small things that in India traditionally businesses, you call your senior sirs, right? And
Hmm.
that gives a sense of entitlement to the senior, that, oh, he's my junior, I'm a senior. And create a sense of entitlement, create a sense of collaboration amongst employees. And large corporations, successful corporations, everybody calls you by the first name.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
whether you're a manager, whether you're an employee, whether you're anybody else, there's no sirring, there's no hierarchy in place. So these are 4 5 things in my mind. A very important positive attitude to keep as a good habit. Put some sports in it. Uh, be very disciplined in terms of your routine. Make sure that the riffraff outside is not bothering and interfering in your business. You're giving your business the first priority. Financial discipline, look out for topmost talent, and be collaborative. So these would be some of my pointers based on my experiences.
Hmm. All right. Okay. So one last question that I would like to ask you, since you're a seasoned entrepreneur yourself, so what would you look in an entrepreneur if you were to invest in any one of them?
So that's a great idea. That's a great question. Sorry, Akshay. And the first and the most important aspect of evaluating an entrepreneur or or a project is to look at the idea itself. So the
Hmm.
first would be looking at the idea. Is the idea disruptive? Is the idea kind of solving a solution which is not there already? Or are you a Me Too product? So
Hmm.
I am personally very comfortable investing in companies which are disruptors, which are finding a solution to a
Hmm.
problem, right? So that is something which is important. And within that concept of evaluating the idea, you could look at the industry in which you are. Is that industry growing? So let's say I'm putting an investment in pharmaceuticals. So is that sector growing? What are the threats to the sector? What could be
Hmm.
some of the threats where your business could be affected in the next
Hmm.
couple of years? Could it be internal competition? Could it be technology, which could disrupt the business? Could it be external competition? For example, in manufacturing, we've seen China uh, taking an edge over India and everybody else in the world. They rule the manufacturing sector. So a lot of businesses in India got disrupted in the manufacturing space, which were competing with China. So the whole idea, whether it's disruptive, what does the industry look like? What are the growth numbers there? What are the risks and threats? What are some of the opportunities? So that's the first part. That's on the idea part. The second is looking at the founder group, the founder trustee group, and whose idea is it? Who are the founders? Because ultimately, it's the founder or the CEO which has to scale up the business. And so, it's once you're validated on the idea, it's just backing the founder, because you might just have a very board role position, but the day-to-day execution of the business, the day-to-day building the teams, making the business grow has to be done by the founders, promoters. Does the founder promoter have the hunger? Does he have the passion? Is the technology right? And so that's obviously the first part which I mentioned, but the idea, validation of the product, technology, etc. So secondly is really backing the team and the founders who are kind of building up ethics. Are they have a background of ethics, which is very, very important. And lastly, Akshay, what I would do is then once I'm convinced on both these points, I would come straight to the financial numbers and look at the business plan, right? So I'll probably look at the business plan, the 5-year short-term plan, 5-year plan. I would not be too much worried about whether the business is going to take a while to become positive cash flow, but I want to understand whether it's going to be profitable 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road. What are the numbers? What are some of the assumptions which have been, taken to derive at these numbers, and get these numbers then validated from third parties, from industry leaders, which the sector is going to be. And that comes to my first point, the idea itself. So the idea then has to be correlated. The idea, technology, product, industry has to be correlated then very corely and integrally with the business plan. And if you get all these three things right, then you invest. So that's typically the way I invest in businesses.
All right. So I think a lot of entrepreneurs are either going to learn, that this is what they need to present if they're looking out for investment. And some entrepreneurs might also get scared that, they'll have to prepare so many things before approaching an investor.
Yeah.
So, but then again, very insightful, quite insightful discussion, sir. And I believe that, all the answers were, just like, we would want the audience to listen and learn. So
Thank you,
I
Akshay.
think
And
great discussion, sir. Great having you.
thank you, Akshay. It's always a pleasure. Look forward to meeting you again. Bye-bye.
All right, sir. Thank you.